Good morning, welcome back. Today I'm going to walk through installing the third function valve kit on the loader of my RK25. A couple disclaimers up front. I don't have any video editing software, so I'm going to try to pause and restart. And in the past, I've had trouble with that not working for me, and so this quite likely will be split into several videos, so just look for number 1, number 2, etc. I need to apologize for the noise, a little bit of background. We moved out to the country about a year ago, and we are literally at the end of the pavement. What I didn't realize is the dirt roads that go from the end of the pavement are about the only roads in the county, so everybody drives by, and so while we're rural, the traffic noise is unbelievable. So we've got some things to do around here, and I'm 60 years old, and I've decided I want to grapple. I mean, this tractor's largely being used as a ride-on wheelbarrow, and I'm going to have some cleanup to do. We've got some trees to take down, bushes to take out, things like that, and I just want to grapple instead of dragging that stuff by hand. I'm probably going to go with an grapple. As you can see in my little barn here, I'm already running out of space, and by having the grapple, two things: I won't need a place to store it, and it'll always be on the tractor when I need to grab something and go. If I was going to be clearing a lot or doing a lot, I might approach that a different way, but I think an grapple is going to be the best answer for me. And so I went up to the Rural King and I ordered myself a third function valve kit. And it took about 6 weeks to get. It came in earlier in the week. We've got kind of a crappy day, so I'm not doing any outside stuff. It's a great day to put it on. And I thought I'd bring you guys along on the walk through that. So let's go have a look at what Rural King sent me. So the first thing, the tractor guys at the local Rural King printed this off and left it up at the service desk with its third function kit installation, but you'll see it's for the RK24 and the L75, and they've handwritten this in here. I've gone through it, and it's not, I don't think it's exactly the 25, but hopefully there's enough information here on how to do it. And let's take a look in the box. First thing, it doesn't use power beyond. It's actually got a diverter valve that's in here. It's going to go out on the front of the loader. It's got the wiring harness for the diverter valve, and you can kind of tell here, I looked and cheated, there's the battery connections. This guy hooks right onto the battery. It doesn't connect to the tractor electrical system at all. This little guy will actually fit the diverter valve. These connectors will go to the joystick. And it's got a relay and its own fuse. So some hydraulic hoses. Some replacement hard lines. These will go in place of what's on the loader now. New joystick for the loader with instructions and I think it's a button. Squeeze it that way. I found that the wire ties, don't want to lose those. So looking at the Rural King, by the way, the kit cost me $749, I don't know, 95 or 99, $750, which to me seemed fairly competitive with the aftermarket kits, and I liked it because it's got the joystick that's kind of fits instead of something added on, so I went that route. Hardware, hydraulic couplers. Well, we'll find out what that is. It's kind of rubber. Looks likely for the joystick. And the new plate that goes up on the loader to carry the valve, and we'll show you right here. The guys kind of told me when I ordered it that it would come with a replacement plate. The actual instructions show adding on a separate bracket. Like I said, there's going to be some difference. I took the bucket off so I could get here. No use climbing over it to get in and work in this area. That's why I did that. Going through the instructions, and I won't take you through that. And by the way, I forgot to mention in the box was a packing list. Apparently in Korea, nothing I could read. I threw that away already. So when you go through the instructions, it has putting the hydraulics on first, and then the joystick and the electrical later. I'm going to reverse that sequence because I'm a little concerned about the joystick and the electrical length and all that because of my instructions. So we'll make sure that's going to be okay before we tear into the hydraulics. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the joystick apart, and I'm going to have to take these 2 bolts out to do that. And I'm going to pause this and not make you watch me struggle with that. I don't have anything to hold this, and I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so I'm back. I pulled the cover off. That gives me access to the rubber on the joystick. First thing I'll point out is it actually felt like it was bonded to the body down here, which doesn't make sense, as you'll see later. And after some messing around, I found out it's just caught in a groove in there. But the next challenge is going to be getting it off of this lockout lever. I don't really want to take it apart to unbolt from the back, so I'm going to see if I can fish this off of here without breaking it, and we'll see how that goes. All right, I was able to get the cover pulled over here without tearing it. I got to say, I'm a little disappointed at how difficult that is. This is an area that really ought to get maintenance once in a while. You can see the balls in here on the loader control and the grease on them. I'm glad to see the factory grease, but this is a maintenance area you ought to be able to get into a little easier, in my opinion. But I've got it up. I need to get the lock nut here loose. It's fairly tight, and this is just a casting, and I'm a little worried about breaking that with the torque. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pair of vice grips on it right up here to hold it while I break the nut loose. By the way, that's 22 millimeters. I know a lot of people aren't used to working with metric. These guys down here took a 10 millimeter wrench. So let me see if I can get that nut loose without breaking the mechanism, and we'll go on from there. Be right back. Okay, so the nut wasn't as tight as I feared, and it's loose, but now the joystick doesn't want to unscrew, and it looks like they may have put that in there with red Loctite. So what I've done is I've pulled the pliers up to here to hold this cover out of the way, and I'm going to apply just a little bit of heat because, again, I'm worried about breaking this, forcing it off. So I'll hit that with the torch, try not to melt or burn anything on the tractor, and see if I can get that to move without putting a lot of torque on it. All right, I've got it moving. I actually heated this area 3 different times, moved it a little bit till it stopped. You can kind of see the red Loctite in there, and now it's moving free. I was reluctant to get too crazy and just heat it up because of all the plastic parts and the grease. So I'll go ahead and pull that off. We'll take it over to the bench and see how we get that boot on the new stick.